Hello, this is Kate from dailytarotgirl.com, and this is your weekly oracle card reading. And for this week's reading, I'm using the Magical Unicorns Oracle cards by Doreen Virtue. And I just felt like using one of my kind of cheesy decks and something kind of lighthearted, and this unicorn deck totally fits the bill for that. Okay, so I'm going to begin by drawing 3 cards, and this reading is kind of like an overview, kind of like a forecast for the week ahead. Okay. Just going to zoom in here. Okay, so we'll start with the first card, which is going to represent Monday and Tuesday of the upcoming week. So the card we have says practice. The best way to be good at a skill is to practice until you get it right. Okay, I love this card for so many reasons. So first of all, I want to say that the beginning of the week is a really good time to not only hone your existing skills by repetition and by practice, and by putting yourself in different situations and circumstances that allow you to use your skill in a new way. All of those things are going to strengthen your existing skills, but it's also a good time to learn a new skill. And whatever you do, don't get discouraged if you can't do something well in the beginning. I think so many of us avoid learning new things because we're worried that we're not going to be able to do it, or we won't be able to do it well. And at the same time, I think so many of us kind of stop doing things like particular hobbies or whatever because we're worried about not being perfect, or because we don't want to put in the time required to practice. So at the beginning of the week, I think it's a good time to look at your goals for the week, or, I mean, not everyone's going to set goals for the week, but or look at some of the goals or dreams that you have that you're working on, and ask yourself, I mean, obviously you want to achieve those things, you want the result, but anything that you achieve is going to be the result of work, of putting in time and effort. And sometimes we want the end result, but we don't actually want the journey that's going to get us there. So there's lots of things that I would love in my life, but if I'm totally honest with myself, I don't really want to put in the time or effort to get those things, because to me it just doesn't feel worth it, you know? Like, I would love to be a successful author, but I don't really realistically want to spend years and years and years you know, writing at a computer and honing that skill. There's other things I'd rather be doing. So, you know, I'm probably never going to be a famous or successful writer because of that, because I don't really want to put in the time, if I'm honest with myself. And then there's things like, I remember when I first started learning belly dance, I loved practicing. And I had no real goal of ever being good at it, but I just loved the process of learning and practicing. And so I practiced and practiced and practiced, and after a few years, I was able to do a lot of the moves, and I was better at it, way better than I was in the beginning. So I'm kind of going off on a tangent, and I want to move on, but the beginning of the week is a good time to practice, and don't be discouraged if you can't get something right the first time. So the middle of the week, kind of like Wednesday, Thursday, this card says, believe in yourself. See yourself doing well, and you will. And I feel like this really connects nicely to the practice card. So if you're practicing for like doing a presentation, or even if you're thinking about having a difficult conversation with someone, or making a hard decision or something like that, or even if you're just doing something out of your comfort zone this week or this month, this card is really encouraging you to visualize yourself doing that thing and doing really well, and believing in yourself, believing that you can do well. This isn't about expecting a specific outcome, but it's about being able to just visualize yourself doing well at whatever it is that you want to do well at. And sometimes that can go hand in hand with the practice. So that you've probably heard that expression, fake it till you make it. It's kind of fits with this. Okay, so I might come back to that card, but I want to move on to the last card. And this is the card of the weekend, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Oh, and this card fits in nicely with the other two. It says, one step at a time. Lots of little steps make big dreams come true. So I think these three cards are so perfect together. I love it. I'm just going to take a quick pause to have some tea. So I feel like there's many of us that have a dream, or many of us that have just started some kind of project or something like that, or even I think there's a lot of us that want to make certain changes in our lives. And at first it can be so overwhelming. If you look at your project as a whole, or look at all the changes you want to make in your life, it can be so overwhelming. And you have to remind yourself that nothing is achieved overnight, nothing is achieved all at once. It's a series of, greatness is achieved by a series of steps, by taking things one at a time and practice, repeating things, practicing, taking things one step at a time, and believing in yourself and seeing yourself doing well and knowing that you can do it, and being kind of your own cheerleader and supporting yourself in that process. And there's something very, very unsexy about practicing, about practicing and taking things one step at a time. And there's something very appealing about this idea of instant success and, losing 100 pounds in, 3 weeks or whatever. I think a lot of us kind of gravitate towards those sudden changes, but realistically, like, most changes take time to make, to successfully make. And there's a lot of value in understanding that and being patient with yourself, knowing that things take time. They take practice, and you have to really take things kind of one step at a time. So if there's something big that you want to do, whether it's a big change you want to make, or a project that you're working on, or whatever, a goal that you have in mind, see if you can break it down into small steps. And really what's most important is that you take one small step. So you don't have to know all the steps in order to get to where you want to go. But, what's the next step going to be? What small step can you take today? And take that step. And then after you take that step, it's going to be clear for you, or you're going to be clear on what the next step is. So you don't have to know all the steps you need to take, but know that wherever it is that you want to go, you're not going to get there in one step. It's going to be a series of little steps, little micro movements or micro changes that you're going to make. Okay, so I'm going to take one more look at these cards, and I invite you to have a look at the cards and let me know, is there one particular card that resonates most strongly with you for where you're at in your life right now? And what is that card? And I'm just going to have another look at these cards. I notice there's a rainbow. It shows up in a couple cards, which is interesting. More than anything, what I'm getting from these cards is there's a lot of like positive energy with these cards. Like, there's a lot of exuberance and enthusiasm. So a lot of excitement. And I'm not sure how to how to apply that to the reading. I feel ultimately that this reading is about getting excited about the mundane aspects of making changes in your life and achieving your goals and dreams. Because there's a lot of mundane hard work that needs to be done. And if you can fall in love with that and enjoy that part of it, then the rest is a piece of cake. It's not going to be that hard for you. I think that is really kind of the key here. That's what the overall message is. So I hope you found this reading helpful, and I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful week. And you can find out more about me on dailytarotgirl.com.